Back now to the call to take the froth out of the housing market. The Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors says a 5% rise in prices should trigger caps on how much people can borrow relative to their incomes or the value of the property. Well, let's talk now to independent housing expert Henry Pryor. Henry, thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
First of all, do you agree that there is froth in the market?
Well, there's certainly a danger of there being froth in the market. If we look at house prices, average house prices in London, where news is often made, they're running at an annualised rate of about 5%, just short of 5%, which in general terms, in inflationary terms, if we compare that to what would be going on in the wider market, we know that the Bank of England have been tasked for some years to try and keep a cap on general inflation at around 2%. So 5% in one part is a cause for some concern, but we have to remember that the national housing market is made up of a myriad, a patchwork quilt of different individual markets, house prices changing from parish to parish.
Well, turning then to the RICS, you know, to their effort or their suggestion on how to deal with the problem. A local problem, would a cap be useful?
I'm not sure it would, and I have to say I think that the political impetus is very much against what the RICS are suggesting. We've seen the coalition government produce a raft of proposals and initiatives, from funding to lending to help to buy, all aimed at putting a floor under house prices, trying to stimulate both house price growth in some parts of the country, but also a stronger demand for new build houses. Much of that has worked and worked quite well, but the concern that the RICS echoes, quite rightly, is that Help to Buy 2, the second phase that comes in January next year, will open up this scheme to second-hand houses, second-hand homes. So people, both first-time buyers and second home buyers, second steppers as they're called, will be able to buy houses, not just new houses, but also second-hand homes.
Well, so if you think there's a need to deal with some of that froth and that potential froth next year, how would you deal with it?
Well, if we look at what Governor Carney's was saying to the Select Committee yesterday, he acknowledges that whilst there are problems or potential problems in parts of the housing market, it's not something that one can generalise about. If we were to take the fact that house prices in Chelsea were up 5%, I think it would be strange for people living in Belfast, Birmingham or Brighton if they were to think that perhaps they should have their lending criteria changed as a result of what was going on in the capital. I don't think this has been thought through properly. It does have some issues and some challenges, but it is right that the RICS are pointing to the fact that we have, as so often in the past over the last 25 or 30 years, suffered from boom and bust in the housing market.
And is there a danger that this becomes prey to political problems, even within the cabinet? We see Vince Cable singing from a slightly different hymn sheet, perhaps from George Osborne. Well,
there very definitely is a political dimension to this. We have seen the coalition having some tensions as to exactly what to do about the housing market. But what is generally agreed by most commentators and most politicians is that in the run-up to the 2015 general election, we're going to see an increase in house prices, because that is something that the government, both the Tories and the Liberal Democrats, have decided is one thing that will ensure that we hit the next election with the best chance.
With the best chance for them to get re-elected, well, being the end of the sentence.
Some may say that. I wouldn't wish to comment.
Henry, thanks very much.
Not at all.
You're answering your own questions now. Yeah.
Well, I felt there was a ... at the end of that sentence.